Hello everyone. I am hearing an echo. Let me sort that out. Okay, so echo sorted. Hello everyone. Everything sorted. So once again, greetings. Welcome to the episode number 10. Very special episode for us. Episode number 10 of the Qualitist series. Thank you to all of you who've been regularly joining this show and helping us spread the message of Qualitist. And during the show, we will of course share more details on what is a qualitist and or who is a qualitist and how do you become one. So hang in there. And one request, of course, is that if you want to hear more of such, delightful interviews with distinguished qualitists, do follow us on social media, particularly LinkedIn and YouTube. You can subscribe to these channels, and it will be good. So, like I said, this is a series. We've already spoken to 9 distinguished qualitists. This is, many of you had registered for the first time we had planned this show, but unfortunately, for medical reasons, we had to shift it. So, thank you very much for bearing with us and coming back for the show. I will quickly check if the show is live on all 3 platforms. Yes, it seems so. Ashish, thank you very much. So you've confirmed that it is live on LinkedIn. I can see it is live on YouTube as well and Facebook. So Hemant, one of our distinguished ASQ fellows, is also live for this show. So all good. And yeah, I think I'm very happy. So the logistics are done. Like I said, episode 10, special episode. I will invite my partner in crime, Balaji now. Balaji is, of course, we've done all the shows together except one, I think. So, namaste. And so, Balaji is, of course, a professor in quality management, works out of Pune, but is more, accomplished as the founder and key person of the Deming Forum of India. Very, very popular across the world as a Deming proponent. So over to you, Balaji, and we take the show forward.
Yeah, morning, Anshuman. Great, our 10th episode. And by the way, Anshuman, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's been a calendar year since we began interviewing
We
people. It
yes,
was Suresh sir first to begin with, if you remember.
yeah. So yeah, you are right. Yeah, no. So his episode was outside of the 10, so it was
Oh,
like
outside
the
of the 10,
launch
but
episode.
yeah,
So,
it was a launch episode.
yeah,
And
you
then,
can say
but it happened around a year ago, right? And then we
yeah.
started with Dr. Parag Rindani, and that's how it was. Wow. So, more ways than one, this is a celebration.
It is.
And it's been, I think, a year of interaction, a year of learning. I think more than anybody else, I think the two of us have learned a hell of a lot. Very, very selfish learners, right? The two of us. We keep probing and provoking people to say things, and instead we end up learning more than what they've ever said. Uh, so, without delaying this any further, let's bring forward the reason why the two of us are here, and our foundational master, uh, the one and only Suresh Lulla sir. There's no need to introduce him. He's the reason, like I said, this whole program exists and two of us exist. So, morning, sir. Good to see you here once again.
Good morning.
We were just discussing how we've completed a calendar year of this Qualitist interviews, and we had our opening show was with you, in fact. So, right, sir. So you can take it away. It's all yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Anshuman. Thank you, Balaji. You've been long distance runners. You made it to the 10th episode, and the 11th is around the corner. It's been very satisfying to see the commitment of qualities increasing. And I'm a firm believer that unless you have a qualitist in your top management, your organization will lose its way. The traditional impression about quality is it's highly delegable down to the workforce. Sorry, wrong number. Quality is not substantially delegable. It has to be led. And the definition of quality is comes from the customer. And the customer changes their mind based on competitive forces. Perceptions can be stable, but expectations keep changing. Customer perceptions of your organization, your offerings can be stable, but the expectations are a moving target. And unless your organization chases the customer, this moving target, and translates it or builds it into design, all that they hear, you're not doing quality. Now, quality has also been evolving. The icon for quality originally was the craftsman. The craftsman who built the Taj Mahal, the pyramids, Buckingham Palace, and so on, Madurai temples. He understood customer needs. He translated them into features. And he benchmarked those features to be best in class because his reputation depended on being best in class. He set product goals. He then had to have activities or processes to deliver those goals. These activities entailed costs, and survival of his family depended on having something left over. So he'd benchmark the practices and choose the best where the cure does not cost more than the disease. So here we are, a craftsman working with the right features that satisfy customers and the right processes, capable processes that deliver to the customer. All this evolved. It came in the industrial age where volume was important. Six Sigma came on, primarily for mass production. Motorola, GE. It was essentially a problem-solving methodology that graduated into Six Sigma. We are now faced with a new challenge: climate change. We have to solve our chronic problems that in a very friendly way with nature. Our solutions should be nature-based, and we have to expand the subject of quality now into green quality. And this is the right platform where we should be having discussions on what is green quality. Okay? With that, I will Yeah, one small thought with your permission. And the most underemployed asset in an organization is the creativity resident in the people. Why? When you're born, you have a left brain and a right brain. The left is logical, the right is creative. And you learn to survive up to the age of 3 using your right brain, creative ways. Then, unfortunately, your parent sends you to school, where the reward and recognition is for left brain activities only, mathematics, science, etc. What happens to the right brain? It becomes dormant. Now, what is innovation? It's converting a creative idea into a solution. What should our qualities be focusing on now? Igniting the right brain. And there are very simple tools available, and you'll be amazed at how much fun you can have coming up with innovative solutions. I'll now pause and stop. May I now invite Umesh Dand, whom I've known for the last 15 years.
Good morning.
Umesh is a vibrant, enthusiastic qualitist. He didn't even know he was a qualitist till we reminded him he is. And he's an innovative thinker and understands consumers, users, and therefore buyers. Buyers and users. He knows the difference. And I have great respect for his passion for customer driven quality. I need you now to help me understand how customer behavior is changing in the climate change. What green features are they looking for? Thank you, Umesh. You've been a very good RB and QA examiner also, and he's currently helping me update some of the criteria for green practices. Thank you, Umesh. Over to you.
Good morning, and thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for your kind words and your ongoing inspiration and generous time and teaching to all of us. I think I've personally benefited a lot, and you're absolutely right. I didn't know about being a qualitist till our interactions. So thank you for that. I'm delighted to be here.
Okay. Thanks, Umesh. Thank you, Mr. Lula, for the introduction and taking time today. Any episode that you land in becomes very, very special for us because the episode aside, the 5-10 minutes that you are able to give is worth the entire episode for us. So thank you very much. We hope you will stay through this session. And already quite a few people are commenting on the surprise that you landed on the in the episode today. So thanks for that as well. Umesh, this is not a regular occurrence. So if SL has landed on the show, it is already a special one. So
I'm feeling privileged, Anshuman.
yeah, same here. I will, since I run the studio, I'll hijack the privilege of asking the first question. And between Balaji and I, we will alternate the question just so that you understand the format. And also for our viewers, the format is simple. We have some prepared questions which we ask, and which are basically to learn from Umesh's and any guest that we invite, their experience and learn from what they have to say. And of course, in 15-20 minutes, you can start posing your questions, and I will, and I along with Balaji will curate the questions and pose it to Umesh. So that's the format.Ose who are new, that's for you. Those who are regulars will already know the format. Whether you are new or old, do me a favor. Follow each one of us on LinkedIn and YouTube. The show is live on YouTube. The archives are also there. If you subscribe to the channel, you get to see all the archives. So you have a free learning portal with you, right? With that, my first question to Umesh. Our distinguished qualities today is that we know you today as a distinguished qualities, right? So, but like all journeys, it didn't start this way, right? And in most of the qualities that we have spoken to, we've all been surprised and maybe not surprised that the whole journey is quite accidental. There are twists and turns that we didn't see, you didn't see. So, what is your journey? How did you land to being known today as a distinguished qualitist, having a career in academics and earlier in retail, and also a very accomplished qualitist? So, what is your journey in brief, so that our audience can take some, I would say, inspiration from a journey like yours? Over to you.
Sure. Uh, Anshuman, when I really look at the quality's journey, and the journeys as the realization of the journey is always hindsight. Yeah. So where I remember, as you're speaking, one of my first jobs, I was working for a Indian American joint venture company of manufacturing denim fabrics in India. So I was one of the initial employees and involved in working for the CEO's office and so on. And I could see the joint venture partners, they were obsessing about one thing, which was the quality lab. While all the Indian management team, etc., all were busy about the sales plan and the exports, etc. And I could see the remarkable difference. And over a casual lunch conversation along with the American counterparts, I asked them that, hey, this is what I observe. Okay, while once you all are busy with the quality lab, others are not looking at it. They are looking at exports. They are looking at sales. And I'm a newbie. What do you see? They're saying that, hey, all their plans are dependent on how well do we do. Okay, so if we deliver quality, they have quality customers. Yeah, so that's really my first encounter with quality. And yeah, and one aspect of quality which I realized on hindsight was, even before I formally started working, this was during college times. I used to work for pocket money, for that extra bit of pocket money after college. This was at a retail store, sports store. And when I got the offer to join them, so I told the owner, I told, thank you for giving this opportunity to me to work for you. And he told me, hey, we all, and including you, we work for the customer. Now, to me, that sounded remarkably polite. Okay, but on hindsight, I realized that, hey, what's the quality connect? Yeah, I realize that right now. And really, my deeper commitment and formal commitment to quality and engagement with the quality community really started off with through the IMC RBNQA, the National Quality Awards. Okay, and their excellent programs and the rigorous framework. I have personally benefited a lot out of it, and I'm certain that I'm not the only one. There are so many people across, right from the assessors community as well as the application community, and the huge contribution that this initiative has done for the country. So really, if I look at it, I keep joining the dots and seeing how quality uh, has been an underlying theme all through my career. Yeah, I mean, I can go on. Let me add one more to it.
Sure, sure.
Yep. So while at Shopper Stop, we had one of this value called customer comes first. Okay, where all employees, whether senior or junior, everyone started with The induction program was essential component was standing on the shop floor and selling, interacting with customers, understanding how do they behave during peak hours, whether it's during peak seasons of Diwali or New Year's. Again, leave your desk job, no matter where you are, go to the store, sell to the customer. Another customer recovery process was so sacrosanct. Okay, so that was that. These are all connects with quality, and I think one of the places where uh, I saw quality embedded, okay, in its very values was at the Aditya Birla Group, okay, and the emphasis of values that they had, the way it has been institutionalized as one person joins in, or through every training programs, or even the entire performance management process, it is it is so beautifully institutionalized, as a result of which quality thought and practice really flows through the diverse business group that it is. Yeah. So yeah, I see on in short, I really see quality as an underlying theme without having realized it. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks, Umesh. Balaji, you want to take the next question and then we can alternate?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Mr. Umesh, one of the major things which we have in common is that you also are an adjunct faculty at a management institute, and I think you're
Yes.
teaching something related to quality or your general management.
Well, the way I look at it is, I feel the entire world of business is connected to quality and performance excellence. So whatever
That's
I
yeah,
do
that's
would be a
exactly what
suspect,
we all feel here.
would be
So
a
yeah,
subset of
that's the
this.
way we feel. So that's one. So quality, okay, so it's totally quality. So now this is like a question straight from my heart because I've been teaching for the last since 1998 on a part-time basis, and then the last 15 years I switched to it being a full-time basis. As an academician, I mean, when you go and teach the students, and generally, this is my personal feeling. I get the feeling that teaching as a profession, okay, I think in this country, in our country, and it's not about the students, it's something else I'm talking about. So that's what I wanted to just throw some light on it. The teaching as a profession is most disrespected, and teachers are most disrespected. I'm not talking from a student point of view. So, what is your take on this?
Okay. I think what you've observed is, while is not absolutely misplaced, there is ample of proof of that, but I yet feel that it is an exception. Okay, it is an exception, and it's perhaps a phase in the passing. Yeah. Teaching for me, I can speak for myself. Teaching for me was an inner call, or an urge to teach. Okay, so while I was at the industry, I used to go to management institutes as a visiting faculty, because I felt that that process really brought me alive. Okay, I don't know about participants. Okay, but it brought me alive. So, and that's really that passion really made me even more curious, and that's when I decided that, hey, I want to have this as an essential part of my career. So I call myself a multi-professional. I do multiple things, and one of them is teaching learning. So yes, I've been doing this very actively for the last 15 years. I do teach, and I have Balaji. Unlike what you just mentioned, I have experienced lot of warmth from participants. I teach, one of the area that I teach is family managed businesses. I have experienced that warmth from family members of participants. Yeah. So even they become participants or semi participants. I've experienced that warmth, but yes, there are elements of saying that, hey, the so and so only, oh, he's only a teacher. And I personally believe that that is uh, that is uh, that is unfortunate. Okay. I think teaching is a privilege. Not everyone can do it. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Everyone can manage, but can anyone successfully teach? When I Balaji, when I really look at all the quality gurus, okay, when I look at all the quality gurus, whether we talk about Dr. Juran or Dr. Deming, my one of my personal heroes, Peter Drucker, what's common about them? All of them were teachers and their learners all through their lives.
In life.
They are prolific teachers and learners. Okay. And all of them lived a really long, impactful lives, and
Yeah,
they were teachers till their very end. Yeah.
yeah.
So I think that's a as a qualitist, I would in fact say that to be a qualitist, you need to be an effective teacher, a generous teacher. Yeah.
Oh
So
yes.
I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah, no, no, I mean, I said from a student perspective, absolutely, it's great to see their faces. And I'm saying from an organizational perspective, the institutional bit, if you know what I mean. That's the point I'm
Yes.
making.
Yes. Yes.
That
Sir,
was
you
my
wanted to.
question. That
Yeah. Yeah. Sir, yes, you wanted to say something.
Yeah. I'd like to add to what Umesh and Balaji have been saying. One is, what are the attributes of a leader? A leader is a trainer, a coach, a counselor, a facilitator, and a recognizer. When you look at all this, there's a big overlap between training and this. Your concern about Balaji's concern, what are the needs of a student to learn? A trainer may train and share whatever they know, but has the student learned? And that learning comes from action. Education with action is remembered. Education without action is easily forgotten. That's my say. Thank you.
Yeah, sure, sure. That's. I was looking from a very different perspective. So I thought, since Umesh sir is in the same field that I am, I thought I'll just throw this question at him. Did he have the same experience? That it's never from a student perspective. They are very warm and very welcoming, and they love to learn, and we want that. I'm saying from an institutional perspective, the kind of respect that is supposed to be given to teachers and academicians, I believe, is not given.
Yeah, there is a
Even
social angle to it.
the
I
anyway,
do
so
not
that's it
Even
deny
I,
that.
from me. Yes,
even
Anshuman.
I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to teach on campus, but I couldn't get a job. So I went into industry.
Fair enough. Moving on. So there are already quite few questions and comments coming in, but we'll get to that later. We So, like you mentioned, I think you mentioned, and the last 5 minutes has also demonstrated the multifaceted experience that you have, Umesh. And the the thing that struck me is that you have played senior roles in multiple industries now, including academics as well, right? So, which obviously made you a very good candidate for this kind of discussion, because you can bridge education, quality, retail. Not many people can do that, right? My Therefore, my question, of course, is that learning from multiple domains, what do you think you can bring? What quality practices you can bring to education, and what education practices we can bring to other fields, if any come to mind? So
Sure.
what can we learn from each other? No specific industry, but generally industry can learn from some education practices and the vice versa.
Sure, sure. Anshuman, if you really look at it, education is all about making learning happening and translating that into action. Yeah, influencing action is really what is education all about. And whether it is school or higher education, there's an essential element which is required, without which learning does not happen. And that essential element is care on the part of the faculty, the facilitator, the teacher. Now, care is something that cannot be automated, it cannot be delegated, it cannot be substituted, it cannot be compromised at the cost of learning and teaching. Yeah. So students and participants across educational institutes, they benefit only because of this care brought forth by the faculty and the teachers. And I think managers and leaders from the industry can learn cultivating this care for team members. And I think this, if rightfully done, just the way Lula sir just mentioned it, this can be a force multiplier of excellence within organizations. So that's what I think industry can really look at in terms of from educational institutes. Now, if we look at the reverse, okay, I'm reminded of what another personal heroes of mine, Professor Clayton Christensen, mentioned, and he mentioned this way back in 2017. Okay, he predicted that 50% of colleges and universities will go bankrupt in 10 to 15 days, and then 10 to 15 years, and then he added, saying that perhaps it may be 9 rather than 10. So what essentially he was trying to say, it's not about the number of years, but it was an emphatic call really for educational institutes or the entire sector to realize the current uh, stream of change, disruption which is happening, and the sector needs to recognize, build that drive, that will to disrupt themselves, recognizing existing realities. Okay, just like the way industries have done. If you look at companies, successful companies, they have endured, adapted, and reinvented themselves to be competitive and uh, and value creators, and whether it is disruptive times or business as usual. And I think educational institutes can learn this from the industry. Yeah. I hope I've answered your question.
No, I got more than what I, was hoping for, because you bring this, like I said, you bring a multidimensional view to the same topic, which not many people have. So we were quite keen to have your views. So thank you very much. Balaji, you want to ask the next one?
Yeah, I mean, what kind of advice would you give to our younger colleagues, maybe a generation younger to us, who are, or maybe a couple of generations younger to us, are considering, or maybe in their nascent years as in a career in quality? What would you want to tell them?
Balaji, thanks for that question. That is, I'd like to say two things. One is share something that I've been kind of, it's something that in my mind that I try to really use, and it has really helped me. And I've not created. I've only perhaps learned it from others. What I call the golden triangle, and it's like a golden triangle. Right on top is the customer, on the right side is data, and the other left base is the team. Okay, so this is, and no quality initiative can be successful without each of these three. You compromise one, and the whole structure weakens. Yeah. So no matter what industry one is, know who is the customer, know who's the customer's customer, know that data speaks the truth. and it needs to be managed and interpreted well. Okay, so data based decisions, okay, is the other thing. And the other thing is, value creation is not done by data, nor is it done by an individual, but by the team. Okay, so understanding of team and people. So this is this part of the first thing that what I would mention is about this golden triangle. And the second thing is about being a lifelong learner, like just like all the quality gurus have been, or all the gurus have been. Okay, being a lifelong learner, driven not by the urge to collect degrees and certificates, but driven by curiosity. Yeah, driven by curiosity. So these are the two things that I would that this is what I would recommend.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks, Umesh. The degrees and certificate was a very resonating, I think.
All of us.
Um, and on a lighter vein, I've used that excuse each time I couldn't qualify for any degree, so I didn't need that. But yeah,
Anshuman, we've all been through that phase of collecting them, right? Till we realize that, hey, what really matters is what has been retained and what's been practiced, right?
what can we apply and where can we make an impact? So I think that is as a qualitist, we all have gone through that journey and realized that lesson that learning by itself is not the outcome. The application and impact is eventually what changes the world. Uh, and if not the world, something around us, wherever, whatever is our sphere of influence. So, well said. I will take a few audience questions now that we are well past half an hour into the session, because our questions we can always ask you later, but the audience questions are, and they make the show. So Hemant Dureshe, who is a very senior professional in our field and is also a SQ fellow, so he's made some comments. Thanks, Hemant. I'll flash your comments. Uh, there's a question hidden in it as well. So thank you, Hemant. He's running us from Facebook, customer data, and trust Hemant to hide something in statistics terms. So he's done that. Customer data and teams. So that is the complement for your golden triangle. But would you like to make it quadrilateral with management commitment, or leave it triangle? So we will leave it for another day, Hemant. You
Sure.
are in Pune along with Umesh, so you can meet, have a choice of your poison, and then settle this. Uh, Okay, so Bakari Abu Bakr joins us from Africa, and he joins us each session. And I'm grateful that he joins even when the sessions are early for him. So his question is, what example would you use to intrigue, or maybe influence his word, the business community into the role of quality? So essentially, how would you use, or how do you influence business community, since you have played a quality role in multiple industries? Any tips and tricks for budding quality professionals?
So I'm reminded of an example that I've heard and I often share. Yeah, and again
Sure.
it's connected, and I'll perhaps try to give two. Yeah, the first is what I've heard and I often share, which is about the early days in India when washing machines were a new phenomenon. Remember the twin spinner? Yeah, yeah. And when they were launched, and the company in question, I don't remember the company name, but they had their grand plans and they launched it, and they suddenly see that, hey, one state in India has uh, unexpected sales, and this foxes the entire management, and they say that, hey, let's get and see why is the sale more than three times, and we are stocked up across the country but stocked out in this state. What is the problem? Okay, and the state was Punjab, and when they hit the road of Punjab, and they realized that, hey, the washing machine is used for churning lassi. So let's talk about hey, the great quality product and its intended use, but finally the customer decides what he or she is going to use the product for. Yeah, so this essentially the point that I'm trying to make is, like Dr. Juran mentions, fitness of purpose. is decided by the customer. This is, I think, the starting point that each of us as quality people need to learn. Okay, it the quality is decided by the customer. The use of the product is decided by the customer. You may intend to make a product for a certain use, but no matter whatever you decide, the customer decides finally. Yeah, so this is one thing. The other thing in terms of quality that I'd like to mention is something that is again from India. I'm reminded of another aspect of quality, which is the Taj episode of the terrorist attack, which happens, which happened, and there's a fantastic case study, and a lot. This entire phenomena has been studied so well. Okay, there's a Harvard case study, and which is very, which really observes that, hey, we talk about quality, we talk about SOPs, we talk about things to be done and measured and all of that, but when crises happen, the first thing that goes out of the window are the SOPs, because they don't really, the SOPs are not made for extraordinary times. What's made for extraordinary times are the values, and what we saw in the Taj episode of employees throwing themselves between the terrorists fired bullets and customers, okay, is a phenomenon that is not, it's extraordinary. That cannot come in from SOPs, that can come in only from care, and that can come in only from values which have been inculcated. Okay, so one example that I've given you is a small example saying that customer finally decides. Okay, but the other example that I'm sharing is finally that is delivered by employees, and we need to care for them.
No, fantastic. Thank you, Umesh. So, Bakri Abu Bakr, I hope you had an answer. Of course, the examples were you shared from an Indian context, and just in case you didn't understand, lassi is a sweetened condensed milk kind of a drink, which a washing machine is, suitably designed to make lassi, because you
Churn
can
it,
churn
yeah,
and churn
churn
and
the
churn,
milk.
and you can. I'm sure there are similar drinks all over the world, and sure in your part of the world as well. So thank you once again for joining and asking a question. Um, Slightly more academic question from Murgesh. Murgesh is a new joiner in this series, so thank you, Murgesh, for joining and asking a question. And I hope you join our shows regularly. So, Umesh, this is the question. What is your view on problem solving as an enabler to better quality? Of course, the simple answer is yes, but a professorial answer from you.
Sure. So I problem solving, the way I look at it is in two parts. One is regular problem solving, okay, problems which are routine in nature and they being solved, and the other is exceptional problems. Okay, so exceptional problems require a different kind of thinking, which Lula sir was mentioning, where we need our creative brains, we need our innovative, we need to tickle our right side of our brain and be innovative about problem solving. And when we're talking about the routine, it tends to be that, hey, we need to go through a logical sequence of questions and answering and investigating to figure out what the problem is. Okay, but everything said and done, we need to bring our whole brains to problem solving, and quality cannot be delivered without getting the whole human being and the whole right and the left side of the brain to solving. I hope I was clear, Anshuman. So quality
Yes.
essentially is about solving problems. So there's no doubt about it. My essential point is there are types of problems which require different types of thinking, but finally, we need to get our whole brain, that is right, left brain, to problem solving.
No,
And there
I
are
find
multiple tools. There are multiple tools. Yes, sir. You wanted to
I
say
was
something.
about to ask Mr. Lulab to contribute, because problem solving is the
Yes.
place where all the quality improvement process started. So yes, yes, sir.
The job of a manager is to solve problems, right? Routine work can be done by supervisors. Now, within problems, you have sporadic problems where you have to treat the symptom of the problem. You have a headache, you take a crocin, headache gone, right? But what if your headache persists? You keep having crocins. Now you figure out this is a chronic problem, and I have to get to the root cause of it. So you go to the doctor.
I do teach, and I have Balaji.
Get to the root. Hello.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
we can hear you. We can hear you. There was an echo for a bit, but we are okay now.
So you go to the doctor, and the doctor says, "Buddy, I can't figure it out," but you get these tests done. So there are diagnostic tools used till you come to the root cause. The root cause for you is constipation. Why you're getting a headache? What do you treat? Constipation. And Umesh said, look, what should I do? And the doctor said, be vegetarian, have green leafy vegetables. I hate vegetables. I like my I like my chicken, I like my meat. Sorry, sir, you'll have to do it. Resistance to change. So you've got to devise a method in bring in the wife and tell her how to secretly fit in the vegetables into the cooking. And then you will have a remedy which will prove to you a result. And the point I'm making is the job of a qualitist is to identify chronic problems and solve them. The sporadic ones will go in the system, ISO, whatever, put the fire out. And the bottom line advantages you can get from solving chronic problems is reduction in cost of poor quality and perhaps customer delight. So, top line too. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Um, and if I may use this opportunity also for everybody in the audience, Kimpro has a fantastic digital online course as well on problem solving. So those of you who are interested in online learning and want to take advantage of that, please have a look. Kimpro.com is the website where you'll have all the details. So moving on, Balaji. I think we are towards the end of the show. I will, of course, bring one or two more audience questions, but by the time I curate, would you want to ask the next one so that I can get some time to go through the questions?
Oh, absolutely. This actually is my favorite question to every qualitist because this is where the real learning comes in. We try to unravel or unlock your secrets. Any favorite book of yours, Mr. Umesh, that on quality innovation management, maybe something general, which was like a game changer for you, something which you feel that you want to share with our younger audience or even with us, because we love to read, all of us. And if you could let us know of that, it would be absolutely fantastic. We know, you can't get anywhere without reading. So definitely know that you must be an avid reader. So if you could.
Umesh, your mic is muted at your end.
Yes, I hope I'm
No.
audible. Yeah.
Yes, no.
So, Yes, I try to be an avid reader, and one of the book that I'd like to really recommend is this book called The Innovator's Dilemma. Okay, written again by Professor Clayton Christensen. And one of the key concepts that's covered in this book is disruptive innovation. And he's written that in several, I would say, decades ago. Essentially, I don't want to take mention too much about it, but largely what he's saying is he's talking about disruptive innovation and the need to look beyond the boundaries and the fences of the organization or the industry and look at the indirect competitor or the fringes of the industry. In Disruption begins outside and then creeps up. Okay, and he's illustrated in that book, industry after industry, how disrupt the need for disruptive innovation and the phenomenon of disruptive innovation, and what do innovators really need to do. That is one of the book. There's another book for people who are more inclined to look at innovation in the educational field. There's a book he used essentially the same thing in a book called The Disrupting Class, where he looks at the root causes of why schools really struggle in offering solutions that fly. Okay, he does the same thing and applies it to the healthcare industry of America. Okay, where he examines what really makes the American healthcare system work or not work. Okay, and then he talks about innovation, where he's talking about the innovative university. Yeah, where he's talking about what higher education needs to do in order to really disrupt themselves and innovate for current times. Yeah, so one essential theme, I've talked about one author, one essential theme, but the way he has interpreted the theme across various different playgrounds. So Balaji, that's really the book. So anyone interested, pick up any
We
one of
made a
them.
note.
Yes, I'll do that. Yeah.
So, not to expand your list, Balaji, but Professor Christensen's range is, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I absolutely love the concept, and you will notice this theme, of course, and I'm sure the audience will also notice from previous episodes that most qualities also straddle innovation
Hmm.
without we realizing. It actually goes together. None of this we realize, and I've realized over my career that it goes together, and and as I did read a little bit more on innovation, Professor Clayton Christensen's famous phrase is, "What is the job to be done?" If we can all answer this question, then what's the job? We are not. The customer is not buying a drilling machine. The customer is buying a solution to a 1 inch hole. So if anything else can do that 1 inch hole or whatever is the hole, he's fine. The customer is not looking for a machine. So anyway, I always get fired up when I hear Dr. Christensen's examples, and of course, his last book is probably the most life changing one. How will you measure your life? So which he doesn't write anything about his education and all this stuff, but writes mostly around what is all this about. And of course, he was dying of cancer towards the end, so his perspective was totally different. So apologies for a diversion, but I will take one or two quick questions before that. Umesh, in case you didn't realize, Bakri has confirmed that lassi is available in Africa as well. So your example was perfectly on the dot. Nital, who's also a very accomplished quality professionals, has liked Mr. Lula's example on Crosin and the contribution part. Um, Ankur's question. So Ankur is again a very distinguished quality professional across multiple industries. We are seeing disruption, which is not letting the work stabilize. Right? Is disruption the new normal, and how organizations and individuals are impacted? So not necessarily a quality question, but because you have experience across industries. What is your view on something like this?
Absolutely. The short answer is yes. Okay, there is nothing called business as usual. Okay, uh, I know there's always an urge amongst business owners and leaders to strive to gain that, if I may use the word, homeostasis. Okay, a basic equilibrium. Okay, but we're trying to achieve that equilibrium in an environment which is in churn. We need to recognize this and hence extend one's thinking to the environment in which we are operating, because this change is going to happen from within and from outside. The within can yet be can we have a higher degree of control over it, but the external, do we have any change, do we have any control over it? No, we have to adapt to it and do that proactively. And which is where I want to echo what Lula sir mentioned about the theme of green quality and climate change. I think as qualitists, we have to also become cops. When I say cops, I mean champions of the planet. Okay,
Hmm.
each of us have to become champions of the planet and really understand that disruptions are maybe competitive but largely going ahead disruption, including the one that's just happened. Okay, is going to be disruptions which are not necessarily or directly competitor led, but they could be environment led. So this is an urge for qualitists and quality inclined to be champions of the planet Earth. Yeah. So yeah, the answer to Ankur really is I don't see business as usual. Okay, I think it is what we saw for a few decades, if at all, was more an exception. Otherwise, you look around, whether it is business, whether it's political, whether it's international trade, whether it is social, we are in, or it's technology. Okay, we are in times of a lot of change and churn.
Thanks, Umesh. We are towards the last few minutes of the show, so I will take a moment to kind of acknowledge some people who joined. So, Sampark, of course, is a very famous LinkedIn coach. Thank you, Sampark, for joining. Sumant is a previous member of this show itself, so he was a guest in one of our earlier shows. Leads innovation and quality at Titan. Thank you, Suman, for joining today. Many other people I've already mentioned. Mr. Lula, you might remember Bhagpat Padi from our Indo-Gulf days. So he's joined the session after many um, years. I have two Balajis. One was enough, but okay, we eliminated one.
Okay.
Um, Good comment from Rajesh, another regular on the show. So yeah, so all over, I think fantastic show. I would like to quickly close it out. So because one, I would say characteristic of a quality show or a professional is to start on time and end on time. So which we will do that. Thank you, Mr. Lula, for joining today and making the episode special. Of course, number 10 episode, but. Your brief comments and the slant on green quality, how we all can move there, is well taken, and I hope it has inspired the audience. Umesh, among the many things that you shared about your career, the the most I would say impactful for me was where your experience across multiple industries has given you a unique perspective in which you can see the same thing in a more holistic way, and the emphasis on lifelong learning that you were able to share, citing examples of various leading luminaries, and you are no less a luminary yourself, so your example is adequate for us. So thank you, Umesh, and for once I'll call you Professor Umesh. You gave ample example or the illustration of you being a professor in this show, so thank you for that. Balaji and I, of course, are partners in crime, so we thank each other for being on the show and having a ringside view on learning. Yeah, Balaji, over to you. A quick question
Yeah,
or
yeah. I'm not letting you go, Anshuman. So the audience, please be ready. Our next episode is on the 4th of June. and it's going to be an extremely special episode. Extremely special episode because Anshuman Tiwari is going to be in the dock. So he's going to
So
be our featured qualitist, and of course, as Suresh Lulla sir keeps saying, you guys are terrorists. So I'm going to be terrorizing Anshuman the next time we meet.
I look forward to
And
that.
my co-partner in crime is going to be Mr. Sumant. So it's going to be 4th of June. Please block your diaries. It's going to be a unique day for everybody listening to suddenly the hunter being the hunted. So thank you
I'll
very much, everyone, for joining us, and I hope you would be there for the 4th June episode. Also, I'm sure you'll be there to see your your most favorite qualitist terrorist being interviewed. So thank you very much. Yes.
thanks, Balaji, for the reminder. So once again, the show Balaji is referring to is the 11th in the series, 4th of June, 11 a.m. I will, of course, we all will post reminders and show links. So please do join. With that, and the wonderful comment from Bakri, and thanks a lot. And Yeah, it's quite a few comments. So I will thank everybody and the audience, and most importantly, our guest of the day, Umesh, on all our behalf from Kimpro. Thank you very much for your time. And
Thank you.
just in case anybody is wondering, I didn't mention it earlier today. The recordings of the show are available on 3 platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So, in case you missed or could not attend the entire episode, you can always come back. Advantage of coming back and watching is you can watch it at a higher speed. The live show you can't watch at higher speed. Okay, with that, I'll end the show. Thank you once again. Bye bye.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Bye bye.